Hello, hi, welcome. I have brought some friends today. As you can see, I've got the fire on in the background. It's a very cozy, calm day. It is lashing rain outside, and I remembered last time I made a video that I said I would do some plant propagation in the next one. And I know you're all just at home just checking the old watches, when is Hazel going to make that plant propagation video? It's the content you've all been waiting for, and I know that. I had a plant I wanted to repot today and potentially propagate in the process, so I thought, sure, look, I'll plop the camera down there and I'll have a little chat to you while I do it. I know I keep saying it in pretty much every video I make, but I'm just really enjoying making videos this way. It's so much nicer that I can just make these and that you're the same as me and just want someone on in the background and that you're happy for that to be me. What an honour. Okay, so let's get to it, shall we? I'd always liked gardening back home, and I haven't really had a garden since I moved to London. I've tried to keep like a nice balcony, that kind of thing, but I've never really had indoor plants, and then started to have them. And then I think, to be honest, it was lockdown. We were all a bit lonely, and the plants were there to keep us company, bless them. And so if you found yourself talking to them and befriending them, you're not alone. I kill plants. I'm a plant killer. I don't intend to, but just for the longest time, whenever I had a plant, it would bloody die. And I think that's why I kind of didn't have them. But then I started to learn a little bit more about like what plants are harder to kill. It's a weird way of saying it, but there are plants that are very precious and need very specific care and attention, and there are some that you can sort of just forget about them for a week, or leave them in the sun or leave them in the dark or whatever, and they're just okay for the most part. So I practiced, I guess, on plants like that, like this one, which is a snake plant. That's the one I'm going to be propagating today. A pothos, which this is one I've propagated, but do I have an actual pothos plant to show you? Yes, I do. Hold on. Oh well, she's hanging up. The one I have is absolutely massive. She's hanging up. I could do an insert. Maybe there's an insert of that now. There's also this one, which I made from propagations. So I took some clippings from another plant, propagated them in water, like this fella here, and when they had strong enough roots, I've planted them into soil, and that's doing pretty well, actually. That's in there, I'd say, about a month now. Okay, so look, let's get back to basics for anyone who doesn't understand this whole propagation thing. Basically, when you have a plant, you can make more plants. And I feel like this is the best kept secret in the world. Like, why didn't I know this? I could have A, saved a shit ton of money, and B, been having the crack propagating plants. For example, here's one I made earlier. This is Susie, which is confusing because I had a snake plant called Susie, and then I recently propagated her, repot her, like split her in two and put her in different pots. Is it still Susie? Are they both Susie, or are they both an entirely new thing? These are the philosophical questions that are raised with plant propagation. It's honestly kind of fascinating. It's it's a bit like Vision. It's a bit like Vision in WandaVision, when by the end you're like, which Vision is the real Vision? Are they all really him? That's how I feel about Susie. I've had many thoughts about that. So that's Susie, question mark. So some plants, like Susie, you just split at the root. That is also true of peace lilies, which I recently propagated. And by the way, there's a highlight on my Instagram called plant propagation, or it's just plants, I think. So this is a peace lily. She's looking a bit sad because I didn't water her, but I have watered her now, and she will perk up soon. That is something to know about peace lilies, actually. Sometimes they actually look on the brink of death. And I remember I was away for a few days and came home, and I had this beautiful big peace lily, and it was just completely crumpled, like completely wilted and withered, and all the leaves looked so sad. I was really upset. And Dodie felt really bad because she hadn't watered it while I was gone. But literally just watered it and it sprang back to life. So pro tip, peace lilies are not always dead when they look like they're dead. This is a small one actually that I propagated recently. I took it out of the soil and literally just split it apart at the roots. So you just have to be very, very gentle. You can sort of identify with a peace lily when you have a very big one, you can sort of see which is like the parent plant and which are the baby plants that have popped up around it. And what you want to do is just very gently pry apart the roots. Then you pop them into water, and as you can see here, these roots are growing so well. It will just grow all the way around the jar or whatever you've put it in and become like a solid new root system. And you want to really give it loads of time to get big and strong before you repot it, otherwise it shan't survive. It's very upsetting. Okay, peace lily can go there. That's a little propagation station, by the way. You can get them, they're really cute. Or you can just use jars like I've done here. You can just use a little jar and pop it in there. Then there are ones like our pothos here, devil's ivy. What you do is you literally take a clipping of one of these here, and if you can see, there's little nodes, this little sort of dark brown node here. Can you see that? Okay, so what you want to do is clip just below that node with a clean pair of scissors. You don't want to introduce like bacteria into the plant. So if you were to clip this one there under that node, what you then do is pop it into water with the leaves facing up, and eventually those nodes grow into new roots, which is really cool. Sorry, Jesus, too many bloody plants here. Out of those nodes you get this new these new roots, and also this is a whole new leaf. So this wasn't this, I basically had this stem, this leaf, this stem, and a node sort of down here somewhere. All of these roots have grown out of it, and these new little baby leaves have grown, which is adorable. So you can see like these are getting really long, but I'm still gonna leave that a little while longer before I pot it. It's just a case of putting it in water and changing the water every sort of week or so. If the water's sort of room temperature, that's ideal. And what you basically want to do is just put it in so that the node is covered by water. The leaves can be just popping out the top, but just make sure that that node is submerged in water, and then the roots can grow out of it. What I also have in here, God, it's like I've gone mad, isn't it? It's a little bit like I've gone fucking mad. Also, let me be very clear, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, this is just, I've just looked up a bunch of plant propagation videos. It really is just about doing a bit of research, looking at what other people are doing, and there's so many people out there talking about this, and then just sort of giving it a go yourself. Okay, so here's another one that's a propagation by a clipping. However, it's a little bit different, so let me explain. This is from this plant here. This is Cassie. I cannot remember what she's called. Zach Galifianakis comes to mind, but that is not. It begins with a Z and it's quite long. Zamioculcas, or so, I don't bloody know. Okay, so this is Cassie. You've got one long stalk with loads of leaves on it. You've got to be careful when you propagate this one. This is why I say do a little bit of research before you do any of them, because some plants, the sap inside them can be a little bit toxic. So when you're propagating them, you want to wear some gloves and be very, very careful, you know, when you've cut it, to not touch your face, your eyes, your mouth, anything like that. Just keep it all very sterile. You know, do the propagation and then wash your hands really thoroughly. Now look, I also don't know anybody who's died from that, but there was this guy on the internet who was like, do not let this shit get anywhere near you, so I'm just gonna go ahead and trust him. So I did a little snipping of her, and what I also did was I took all the leaves most of the way down off. I did this because a person on the internet told me to. You leave a couple leaves on top, you can clip with the scissors all the leaves on the way down, and you can see when you look really closely at it, there's sort of a little node and then the leaf comes out of it. So you want to get in really close to the stalk and get in under that node. And what you do is you leave the leaves, yeah, overnight. Where are my leaves? Oh, they're here. And then the next day you can put them in water. So here are the leaves off this. I've put them in here. Oh, dearie me, they're all over the place. So you can see on that, the leaves are starting to, I wonder, can I focus on this a bit? No. You can, fucking hell, Hazel. So there's actually new roots growing out of a leaf. What? I genuinely didn't know leaves did that. That's kind of crazy. Not all leaves, hashtag not all leaves, but on these ones, yeah, if you cut in really close, you can see on this one it's a bit clearer. Basically, you have this tiny node, and if you just get in really close, then the node will grow and eventually grow roots. Isn't that mad? Look at these leaves just growing roots. Nature, man. Who knew? Those are the leaves that I propagated, and this is the actual stalk. So she's growing some roots. That's been really slow going, I have to say, that plant. I did that maybe a month or two ago, and that's the result. Like, that's where the roots are at. But somebody, again, someone on the internet suggested that you propagate other plants with pothos. If you have some of these propagating, that you put the other plants in with them. Apparently it helps to stimulate root growth. That is my rubber plant. And what you can do with that one is, off the top of the plant, you can take a clipping. Come on. This one is amazing. I really like this one, actually. So I took a little bit, you can see a little bit of the stalk with the leaf on it. So you want about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of the actual stalk itself, with the leaf still attached. And again, you'll see on that plant, the way you see on the pothos, there's these little nodes on the stalk. You'll see it. As you can see, this bad boy is growing some. I really could refocus this so that you can see it clearer, but I'm not going to. It's got some roots, and also, look at this. It's like a new little stalk with new leaves. There's a few coming out. So these red stalks here will turn into new leaves. So we've got a few of them. So hopefully by the time this whole root system has grown in, these leaves will have grown as well, and I'll have kind of a new baby rubber plant. And literally, when they're ready, you just pot them. You just get a sort of all-purpose compost. You just want to get them nice and deep, get them completely covered in soil, and in the first instance, keep the soil nice and wet just after you've done the potting. And then business as usual, really. A little bit of fertilizer if you fancy, organic if you have it. And that's, Jesus, that's also some devil's ivy in there. Again, I was told it would help with the growth, so I've put it in there. I'm not sure if it does or not. And there's a couple other rubber plants in there as well. So many plants. I've been doing a lot of this. I didn't really realize. Oh yeah, this is the saddest thing. I really don't know what this was, right? It still had like a big leaf on top, and that died. And now it's just a stalk. It might have been a dumb cane plant. Anyway, it's fucking growing. Life finds a way. Look at this shit. It's growing some new roots, and baby leaf out of this horrible little sort of scar at the top. It's just growing a whole new leaf, and there's also little baby leaves growing here at the bottom. Madness. I'm going to very quickly just separate out this other snake plant so you can see the process. Hold on, bear with. I did say in the last video that there would be plant propagation and some talk about the Snyder Cut. I think what I'm most fascinated by is like how strongly people felt about it. It was fine. It was what it was. It was a big, huge, smashy, silly comic book movie. It's not offensive in any way, you know, on like, it's not really bad on the negative side of the spectrum. There's nothing that to be outraged about. And at the same time, oh my God, I've just realized I've been sitting on a cushion this whole time. I could be lower. On the other side of the spectrum, it's not like groundbreaking, cinema-changing, history-making stuff either, you know? Like, it's really long. The scale and the scope are huge, and it's very ambitious, absolutely But yeah, I just don't think it's going to change the face of cinema one way or the other. I will say this, I enjoyed it much more than the other version. With all the reshoots and stuff. I mean, not having to look at Henry Cavill's weird ass fucking lip, that made it better. I realized this came out about 12 years ago, by the way. Like I'm behind on the trend. Yeah, I think it was better than the other one. I think sometimes you have to kind of lean in to whatever it is. Say what you like about Zack Snyder. Jesus, this is fucking huge. Say what you like about him, or whether you like his films or not. He has a very, very, very particular style, okay? A bit like someone like, I was going to say Michael Bay, and I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean Michael Bay has a very particular style. Every shot is important, right? If you watch a Michael Bay movie, this is why I could do a whole separate video on why I love Armageddon so much. Its flaws are kind of what I love about it. Like the way Michael Bay shoots films, like if you think about that sort of swooping shot in Bad Boys or like all of Pearl Harbor or Armageddon or whatever, the camera is constantly moving and swooping and pushing and pulling and zooming and tracking, and there's always so much, and the lighting and the music and everything is designed to make you feel like this is really important. Like what's on screen right now is of the utmost importance, and you must be paying attention. But when you do that for 3 hours, when you do it to everything, then nothing is important, right? Because that guy having a chat with that other guy is treated the same way as the spaceship landing on the asteroid. So I'm confused now. Is that as important? And it becomes a bit of an assault on the senses, right? But if you like that thing, great, okay? And that's what I'm kind of saying about Zack Snyder. He has a very unique style like that. It's big, it's overwrought, right? I would argue too big for what it is. It treats all of the material extremely seriously. There's a huge gravitas to everything that's said and done on screen, so that when you have moments like that wonderful sequence where the Flash saves a woman from a potential car crash. She's flying through the air in slow motion, having been launched out of a car that's crashing into something. He's moving in his super fast-paced way, which looks like slow motion to us, to get to her. And there was loads of hot dogs in the truck that she hit. So there's just these fucking sausages floating by, and one is like really near her head. And I cannot take that seriously. And maybe it wasn't intended to be serious, right? But it is a serious moment where someone is meeting someone for the first time. He's saving her life. They're about to fall in love, right? This is their meet cute, and it's a very spectacular one. But there's massive slow motion sausages floating by. And Zach, I can't take this seriously because you're treating it so seriously. It doesn't feel like you're laughing at the sausages. It feels like you want me to be like, whoa, but I can't because of the sausage. I say all that. I had a perfectly good time. And as I said, I thought it was better than the other one. And yeah, that's the point I was trying to make, was that I think when somebody has an incredibly unique style, right, whether like it or loathe it, I think you're better off just leaning into that. So for the studio to have let Zach make his cut and then go, no, that's not what we want, we're going to bring someone else in to do all these reshoots and sort of, I guess, I don't know if tone down is the right word, but certainly like course correct a bunch of the things you've done. It doesn't really work because now you've got two very different voices in the same movie, two very different visions talking over each other. And I feel like you really just would be better off just committing to the one voice, even if it wasn't for you. Just fucking go big or go home, lean into that voice and let the people who enjoy it. Because what you're actually doing is diluting it and creating this sort of hybrid fucking Frankenstein thing where no one's gonna really enjoy it because it's neither this thing nor that thing. And look, Infinity War, Endgame, you know, these are very serious movies. These are very epic movies. The difference was sometimes they don't take themselves too seriously, and also they had spent 10 years building up to that moment. Like Endgame earned its stripes. When you got to the moment at the end of Endgame, you'd spent 10 years with these people. Like think of it, 10 years of your life. Like what's happened in those 10 years? And really, I think my biggest issue with all of the DC stuff is it just feels like, here's a character, they're in your face, love them, this is happening now, oh, there's some new characters, care about them. Oh, there's this whole backstory to the Flash about his father being in prison, wrongly imprisoned, and him studying to be a lawyer so he can get him out and stuff. And then there's the whole backstory to Cyborg. And I want to see those films. Like, the Cyborg story is such a cool story. He's on the school football team and he's, you know, this incredible athlete, and he's in his prime, and he's in an accident where he loses his mother, and his father is a scientist who doesn't want to lose his son, so it builds a sort of a new body for him, and it turns his son into Frankenstein's monster. And now he resents his father for the fact that he even exists anymore. Like, it's so interesting. It's such a human, cool story. Oh, there's the sun. Hello. I liked it. It was fine. I probably won't ever watch it again. I also saw an interview with Zack Snyder, which was very, very interesting, because when when you're repotting, we're doing both of these at the same time now, you just want to give the pot a bit of a squishy squish. Bit of a squishy squish. Oh yeah, you can feel like there's literally a lump over here, like it's growing out of the pot. It needs more space. I've just pulled this out of the pot and taken most of the soil off it, okay? So what you end up with is this big load of roots here. And you can see this guy was on the very edge of the pot. He didn't have any room at all. Okay, so we're gonna give him some room. So what you can do is just literally let the plant sort of fall apart, okay? And see where it naturally wants to come away. This one, for example, that's just falling away in my hands. So I can just let it, okay? So that's gonna definitely be part of Plant 2.0. So when I was watching Justice League, what was interesting was it felt like, you know, in, that's just fallen away as well, look. You know, in Lego Batman, so easy. You know, in Lego Batman, where you're like seeing all the action. Whoa, fuck. Shit. Oh, it's just all over the sofa. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Plant propagation and talking about films at the same time is a fucking nightmare. I've put the remaining soil from the original pot into this one. And you're just gonna put that in like semi-deep, a few inches down, and then get some compost, which I have here. I'm not lifting the bag of compost, it's a bag of compost. I'm sure you can imagine. Just filling around it. What was I saying? Yeah. So when I watch a Zack Snyder film, it feels like I'm watching a kid, right, with his favorite toys, just playing out some story he's just made up for them. And we all remember this. We all did this as kids, whether it was Lego or Action Man or Barbie or whatever. You got your toys and you got them all dressed up and you put them in whatever setting they were in, and you were so serious about it, you know, like their little lives and their little problems, and you would do all the voices. Watching Zack Snyder's stuff, particularly with these characters, there is just fucking soil going everywhere right now, and I've just resigned myself to, I'm gonna clean that up after. I just sort of imagine Zack behind the scenes, you know, with like Batman and Superman, pew pew pew, my mother's name is Martha, my mother's name is Martha, oh my god. That's one done. I forgot to say, actually, it isn't all-purpose soil, it is cactus and succulent soil, because that's what this plant is. I then saw an interview with him talking about his filmmaking process, and it was fascinating. It's him in the cinema, right, watching, oh my god, there's soil everywhere. Why is it always chaos with me? I started this video so calm. Remember the calm, cozy vibes? I had the fire and the rain, and now it's just fucking anarchy in here, and I just... It's always the way. I'm so sorry if you were just having a cup of tea and relaxing and enjoying this, and then I start screaming at the plants. I feel like that's too many. I feel like it almost needs to be another one. Yeah, okay, we're gonna do 3. We're making 3 new plants. He's watching Justice League and doing a director's commentary, and he has this big book of like the storyboard that he made for it, which is basically all these like drawings, almost like a comic strip really, and a lot of people storyboard. This isn't strange in itself, but what is interesting is that like the way he talks about it, the way he talks about the storyboard, oh, it's just so interesting. He doesn't say much. He talks about how cool it is. That's kind of it. Like the word he uses most often in this video is cool. Batman will be doing something on screen and he'll go, yeah, so I shot this scene this way because I thought it looked cool and I drew this little picture. And then basically what you see here is that, and it looks cool. And he'll even do these little noises. Like he'll be like, and the Batmobile, that goes over there, vroom. Like he'll just do these little noises. And like, I genuinely don't mean to insult the guy. What I'm saying is that like, he makes films that he thinks look cool. He puts together scenes in a way that he's like, yeah, that's awesome. I would watch that. I genuinely don't think with this film that he's trying to say anything bigger or delve into any deeper thematics. I could be wrong, but what it feels like actually is just a big, silly, joyful celebration of a thing he's really passionate about. And that comes across. And there's room for that too. That's another one. I've just popped that in there and filled it full of soil, really. And that's sort of it. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna pop her in here. So that's in that pot there. It's quite nice. I'm just using this smaller pot for this one. I probably will end up repotting it quite soon. That's the only one I have for now. I guess I'll go clean. This has been fun. Thank you for joining me for some plant propagation and Snyder Cut talk. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you're propagating, let me know how it goes. Like I said, I have a highlight on Insta showing you some of these in more detail. So go have a little look at that. And if you want to leave me a little comment or whatever and let me know how yours go, that would be lovely. Good. Bye.